Welcome to Jerking Around, a podcast that makes you feel better about yourself because we're a mess, just like you.
And Crystal makes fun of me the whole time.
And it's great, and it's real. Hey guys.
Hey, welcome.
Welcome. Today there's a lot of fun things to talk about.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see when they come out. But today, you guys, we have been so blessed to run into a lot of jerkies out on the streets.
Yeah.
So Tisha always thinks there's 2 listeners. I do feel like there is way more than 2.
Yeah.
But we want you guys to know how important it is that you listen, because Tisha wants to quit like every day. So
Every day.
Keep commenting, keep telling us that you like it. Every time I get a nice comment on my Instagram or in person, I send it to her and our pod daddy so that she doesn't quit. So literally she has nightmares about quitting once a week. So keep those coming in.
You could run it without me. I mean,
No, she's trying to quit right now. But keep those comments coming in if you think
it is
that
nice. It is
someone else,
encouraging.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is. And that someone else will benefit from this podcast. Maybe they want, I'm going to be more appropriate today, but maybe, they need help with this or that or whatever we talk about.
They need a shovey in their life.
Yeah, go ahead and share our podcast on Instagram. It means a lot to us, or any of the places that you watch us. And if you want to give us a review, that would go a long way. It really helps us be seen by other new jerkies. But thanks again. So if you see us, tell us what you like, because it keeps Tisha from quitting.
Yeah.
But moving on, it's been fun. Some people with some of the trendy topics, that's been new for us this season.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to, trying to revamp where we want to be. Tisha has nightmares that were too inappropriate, and I do too. But she sent me, and Tyler's going to laugh, but she sent me this great podcast, Girls Gone Bible.
Yeah.
And it's great because sometimes when we find something, all of a sudden it's like trending.
Right.
So she sends me these girls, and I think we both shared it on our page.
Yeah.
It was a really great info about dating and how you date to marry.
Right.
And so then we deep dived into their podcast, and they're number 7 on
Well, it's
top
crazy
charts.
because when we saw, they weren't, and then they were all of a sudden.
In a few days.
Yeah, it was
Same with
weird.
Mel Robbins. Mm-hmm. Is the top chart really the top chart? Or is
I
it
really
fake?
like them, too.
I
I feel
love
like
them.
they have so much good,
Content.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So follow Girls Gone Bible. They're way more appropriate than we are.
Yeah, they're not talking
So Tisha's wanting me to become Girls Gone Bible, and I'm watching these girls.
Well, I was like, look at these wholesome girls. We should be more wholesome.
And then I listened to last week.
Can we cut the Stabler role
They
play?
don't know Stabler
Oh,
yet.
shoot, I forgot.
Yeah. No, last week I listened at the gym this morning, and I told her, because I'll start to think it's super inappropriate, and it is when I listen, but I was laughing out loud because sex is something in marriage no one talks about when you don't want to, and the thing you did, and it was I felt like I was with my friends, yes.
Well, we're not trying to be inappropriate for being inappropriate. We're just trying to be genuine. And we
honest.
are a little sometimes.
We're very inappropriate in real life.
Yeah.
It gets awkward with a lot. Sometimes we use
the
movers.
Home Depot guy.
Yeah, what happened with him?
Remember when you were returning the thing? And then we should probably cut this because we can't tell the story, right?
Yeah, we can. Tyler wants it. Let's go.
Oh.
I don't remember.
So Crystal bought a fan. The fan was broke, so we had to go talk to the guy because I'm like, just buy the new fan, put the broken part in the other one, and return it. And she's like, that's not being honest. I'm like, and then the guy was like, yeah, just do that. But anyways, so we go talk to the guy, and the poor guy, I don't think he's ever been talked to like this.
We always go after the young ones too and make it weird. Was he young?
He was youngish, maybe
Younger than us?
Yes. Oh
Okay.
yeah. I know. I feel young, but I'm not.
We're not.
No.
Yeah.
So he was early 20s maybe, and we were talking to him, and Crystal's telling him the story, and he's kind of just return it. And then why did I start talking about your kitty? And I was like, I don't know why we start talking about.
I don't know where it went.
Well, we know what we mean about her kitty because she doesn't have a cat. So kitty is
and I don't have any fur.
And so I said, yeah, she's always telling me pet my kitty. And then she's like, do you like a hairless kitty or you like a hairy kitty? So we're saying this in
This is why we're never going to be Girls Gone Bible.
Exactly.
They're never calling us
Never.
to go on their podcast.
No.
I think
And
it
the guy
seemed
was
we were...
Because I think he was uncomfortable about the return, and so I was just trying to make him laugh. We like to make people laugh. We do it with servers.
We do it with everybody. I don't know if they like it, but they laugh.
Oh, he was dying.
Yeah, and then he was like, I'll buy you a fan by the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think sometimes we talk to people like a we, and then it sounds like we're together. I think that's where we started. That's
what it started.
It was like, we're not together.
You said that. You go, we're not together. It seems like we're together. We're not. And then I said, well, she's always trying to get me to pet her kitty. And I don't know where I came up with that.
I know. It really takes you there.
Yeah, it does. I just picture it.
I don't have a kitty.
Yeah, yours is a hairless. Yeah.
I'm into the hairless.
Yeah.
But, you know, you could tell that story.
No.
Okay.
I will not be.
Moving on.
Anyways, yeah.
So we're not going to be Girls Gone Bible.
No.
I was watching I love their podcast. I hope my daughters watch. The girl, you know, had her Bible and she was like on her knees at her live event. And I was like, that's just not me. And I was telling Tisha from stopping her from quitting again.
Yeah, because you're on your knees a lot at home. So she doesn't want to be on her knees
I can't sleep. We're too inappropriate. And then she's telling me to pet her kitty.
No, but yeah, you are on your knees at home, so you can't be on your knees at the show.
That's not how I do it.
Yeah, laying down.
Yeah.
No. Anyways, moving on.
Girls Gone Bible is a good one.
Well, this is why I'm inappropriate, because when it's just you and I and our pod daddy here, it feels like natural. And I can be inappropriate because I am inappropriate.
So am I.
But once it comes out, or once I start thinking this is going to go to everyone I know and everyone I see, even though not everyone listens, I start like freaking out. They could
find it.
And then I think of like my husband and like the people he's doing business with. Do they want to know about this? And am I embarrassing him? Am I embarrassing my children? And I start spiraling. And then I'll wake up to pee in the middle of the night, and then I start spiraling, and I can't go back to sleep for hours. And I have all these crazy thoughts. You know, the middle of the night thoughts.
Oh, every time. I had so many this weekend.
So then I call Crystal, and she has to talk me off a ledge.
Like, we're not quitting.
It's like a weekly thing.
And I do think, like, we talked about this too, and we're going to stop saying, like, I just said it. But God created me not to be, and I love Girls Gone Bible. It's just not the way I've been a Christian my whole life, so I don't really I'm not as, you can judge me. I've been judged so much. I don't feel like I have to stay in that lane to stay. My parents were always Christian, very Christian, but they still, I guess, sinned or went to the casino, or like they weren't in a box where I felt like I had to be one of those, I don't know, you know, like the people that are in that lane, they never waver in that lane. And I think sometimes for me, those type of people are hard to relate because I'm not in a box. And so can I still love God, and can I still be a Christian and have faith without, you know, being perfect. But I feel like the secret to our faith is that only Jesus is perfect.
Right.
We all have grace because we're imperfect. And I think sometimes people in Christianity judge each other, and people are judging us because we are on this soapbox of saying what people think or say in private. We're saying out loud, but you're allowed to have sex when you're married. It shouldn't be something that we're not allowed to talk about.
Right.
My mom talked about it with my dad always, and I thought it was so cool that they had a healthy sex life.
And if you don't want to talk about it, then don't listen.
Yeah, Girls Gone Bible is a great podcast.
Well, what I like about that podcast is it's very educational, and it
like Bible based.
Yeah, because I do think that the world needs more of that. And so I think that's maybe why it's so popular too. I think people crave that, and so
you crave that.
I totally crave that.
Yeah, you love a good, and see, that's just not me. Like I'll mess it up. But I know my faith and I know my stories, but I can't quote the Bible like that. Yeah. And if I were to try to be that, it wouldn't be authentically myself.
Right. Well, I think that's where it would be weird. If they're maybe being authentic, so it's perfect.
Yeah. And that's their calling.
Yes.
My calling is to live on the edge.
Yes.
I don't color in the lines.
Yes.
And you do. And you like to
I am more in the lines kind of gal.
People's kitties. So, moving on, trending topics. So we learned a lot about Girls Gone Bible, but trending topics. What's been so cool about running into jerkies in the wild, you know, out there,
influencers
is they'll ask us like, hey, what do you think about this? Or why aren't you guys talking about that?
Right.
Which I can't say the guy's name, so let's say it. Bandoni.
Justin Baldoni or whatever.
Yeah.
Blake Lively feud going on in the
big deal.
Media right now. They're suing each other she's suing him for sexual harassment. He's suing her for defamation. And
so it's crazy. And we're going to encourage you to pick a side. Because we did. I'm
Team Justin.
So am I.
Yeah.
And I wasn't. I actually love Blake Lively more than you do.
Yeah, I loved her Gossip Girl era. Yeah. I was very Blake Lively, you know?
Yeah.
But now, not so much for me.
It's funny because last week we planned on talking about it, but we forgot. And then later in the day, it blew up on social media. Right. And I was so annoyed. I was like, we should have talked about it, but we're talking about it now. So it started back during the movie. We went to see it. First of all, It Ends With Us is the best book ever read.
It's so good.
Ever.
It's the only book I've read twice.
Yeah. I think I read 2 of her books twice.
Yeah.
I think It Ends and It Starts With Us.
Yeah.
It Ends With Us, I fully read twice.
Yeah.
Maybe it was the only one.
It's so good.
It's the best book. If you're above 16, I would say there is still some, that's why Tisha likes Colleen Hoover. There's always a little risque, and she likes to talk about the kitty.
Okay, baby girl.
Baby girl. But there is some risque, like, she likes to, like, put the blanket over her head. And you, when you're reading.
No. I was like, what?
And pet the kitty.
I was like, Colleen? You know, I didn't know what you were talking about.
Oh, you do.
No.
But the book theme is about abuse.
Yeah, domestic violence.
Domestic violence. And
it's like a heavy book.
But what's so cool about it is that when you're reading it, you know, it's so easy to judge people that it, you know, right? You see, even, you know, last night one of my cheerleaders was over the house. They were working on something, and I got on her about this boy she's talking to, but not. And I'm like, oh, good. Has he picked you up for a date?
Right.
She's like, well, no. I'm like, oh, good. I'm like, do you guys go to church together? She's like, yeah. I'm like, so he picks you up and he takes you? She goes, well, no, we see each other there. I'm like, yeah, he's not working for you.
Right.
And Kyle's like, you're being hard on her. But it's easy to judge.
Right.
And I've had friends that had relationships that were questionable. Mm-hmm. Is everything on the up and up? And when you see it in the media or you see someone and you're like, why would you stay?
Right.
Reading this book gives you you can understand the behind the scenes of why you stay.
Right.
Colleen Hoover writes love stories like I'm in love with every guy she writes about. Mm-hmm. Ryle, they always have the cutest names.
Right.
Ryle, and the girls are always like edgy, but like confident in who they are. Mm-hmm. So you want to be the girl, but you want to like the guy, and you relate to everything they're feeling. It's crazy. Yes. She's the best writer.
So it makes you side with the victim and seeing why it's so hard to walk away.
He didn't mean it. He didn't mean it.
I was like Team Ryle. I'm like, Alice is boring, you know?
Yeah, totally. And that
no, but not really.
We both said that. And then when we read the book again, we saw it differently. But that first time, So what happens in the book is she falls in love with this guy. She's not someone that falls in love easily. He's a brain surgeon. What girl doesn't want to?
Yeah, neurosurgeon. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like he's rich, he's cute,
buff.
He
can't be tamed.
He's
never
loves her.
in a relationship.
Never loved anyone else. Loves her.
Oh, he loves her, and they love each other so good.
Yeah.
So they're so happy, and then he accident. Still horrible to say, but the first one I did feel like was an accident.
Yeah.
He accidentally hit her.
We sound horrible. We can't.
But in the story, you're like, he didn't mean it.
Yes.
So, anyways, Blake Lively's that girl. Justin Baldoni is the guy, Ryle. Mm-hmm. So all of us that have ever read the book couldn't wait to see the movie. But what bothers me, why I'm telling you about the book is Blake Lively hasn't read the book.
Yeah, he's alleging that she has not read it.
It's so wrong. It's the best book.
It's rude to I feel like if you're an actress, you need research.
Yes.
You should be researching your character. And I feel the most research you can do about this character is to read the novel that you're acting.
And it's the best novel. The way she writes it's
weird.
Like a story of heroism.
Do you really think she didn't read it?
I do.
Yeah.
Because they kept trying to change the script. Mm-hmm. And if you've read the book and the way he wrote the movie.
Well, that makes sense because a lot of her interviews after, she got slammed because she was talking about Lily and her style and her outfits, and everyone's saying this is like a really heavy subject around representing a woman that has suffered generational domestic violence. And so she was slammed saying that she wasn't wasn't depicting the theme of the book
the right way.
And he was. And so I think that's why she got mad.
Because she looked bad.
She looked like an idiot.
She did. And anyone that's read that book, the whole theme of it.
And she's not 22. I mean, I know I try to look 22.
You did your hair like her after the movie.
I know, but she doesn't look 22, but I know I don't either, but I'm not trying to act
I thought she looked great in the movie. And there was talk that she was carrying baby weight and that he was negative about that. And I thought she looked great in the movie.
I thought she was carrying baby weight. I'm just going to say it. It's not a shame. I mean, put Put off filming for 6 weeks if you have to.
Oh God, edit.
I'm just saying.
No, I know. But she looked great in the movie. And I think it's almost great that she's not the perfect size in the movie.
Totally.
Because you love Lily just as much. You're so into Lily, even with it. But now it's coming out. So she sues him.
For sexual harassment.
Which is laughable. Because if you watch, Candace Owens is now chiming in, and she's reading the pages and pages of the lawsuits. So, you know me, I can't summarize it because I'll mess it up. But if you want more info, go to Candace Owens. She's all over this right now. But his lawsuit is 100 pages, and the lawyer is like, get ready. So he released, I guess they said that he was licking her neck and whispering inappropriate things in her ear. What Blake Lively's team didn't realize is Justin Baldoni is also the producer? Director of the movie. He let the camera roll and the sound while they were doing that video. So then last week he released the audio and they're talking about their marriages. It's the most appropriate conversation.
Oh, and I saw that in her spray tan. And it wasn't
He didn't lick her neck. She's telling him he needs a nose job. It was the most innocent depiction of is that the right word?
Maybe.
No, I use it. I found a big word. I thought
it was great though. Kind of goes.
But he also now it's he's released another video last night.
He was well, now they're saying Ryan Reynolds is the cause of all this because he got jealous because they had chemistry, allegedly. I don't know, but they cornered him in their hotel. Ryan Reynolds.
No, their penthouse.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, and then they had Taylor Swift there, which is why is Taylor Swift here?
Weird. She doesn't know anything about a movie.
And why is she here?
I don't know. I think she has
it's what?
A Harry.
No.
I do.
And so
I do. It's and she has all those cats. Yeah. So there's kitties everywhere, kitty there, kitty there.
I'm not a Taylor Swift fan either, so it's fine. But don't post that because we'll be it's
I say post it.
But yeah, so anyways, so they were saying that they were using their star power to kind of bully him into using Blake's ideas for the movie. And he was like, yeah, these ideas are, and she sent him this weird text after saying she has forces and powers. And if he doesn't use her stuff, it was kind of weird. I'm probably saying it wrong too.
No, they did. Something like the lion.
And then he left her a voicemail at 2 a.m. Now he's releasing the voicemail.
He's so apologetic and respectful in the voicemail.
Yeah, it's not looking like what she's alleging is accurate.
Yesterday,
it's not looking good for her.
Yesterday, we saw a video on the plane because, we've been together for about 80, 90 hours consistently because we went on a cheer trip this weekend. But on the plane, there's a video of him, fans run into him at the grocery store, and he won't even touch the girl's back. In the picture, you can see his hand. It's appropriately
hovering.
Placed on her shoulder, and he didn't even, there's this much space between his hand and her back.
Yeah.
So we're saying if he's that kind of guy, is he really?
Yeah. So then, he's just I'm getting sued. I better keep my hands up here.
But also, A Simple Favor is another excellent book. Such a good book. And Blake Lively and Anna Kendrick are in that movie. And now it's coming out that Blake and Anna had beef in that movie.
And I heard her and Blair on Gossip Girl had beef.
Well, Blake was trying to change the storyline in A Simple Favor too. Did you read that book, Blake?
Maybe she just needs to go make her own movie,
Yeah. It's weird.
And why are we changing books? It's but anyways, I if she's having all these issues with people, it's the common denominator. Yeah. Remember in Cheer?
Yeah.
It'd be if you're falling in every stunt, you're the common denominator.
How do you fight with Blair too?
Yeah. You're the common denominator. So if she's the issue in all these issues, she's the issue.
I know, it's bad. I think she thought she would take him down.
Right.
And then my friend got in an accident years ago. And then she was getting sued for the accident, and she was single and young and so frustrated. And she ended up hiring a family member that's a PI, and ended up that the guy was a lawyer, so he was suing her.
Right.
And then the PI got involved, and my friend didn't remember what happened in the accident. It was so traumatic.
Right.
She was in the hospital for months.
I remember.
It came out that he caused the accident because her family, that's a PI, did all the evidence. So then he sued her, and then she ended up winning the lawsuit.
That's crazy.
And it's I think that's what's going to happen here. It's you try to save your name because you're worried about bad publicity.
Right.
And little did you know, the bad publicity coming at Blake and Ryan right now.
Yeah. We'll see. Unless she releases some new...
Alleged
things.
I'm team Bandoni.
For now, yeah.
What is Bandoni? Is he Italian?
Baldoni, I think. Yeah. There's an L in there.
Speaking of Italians, let's jump to Paige DeSorbo.
Yeah.
Paige, I love you, Paige, but what is going on?
Yeah.
I always think, and I'll say this thoroughly.
You always say a girl doesn't leave unless she has something on the back burner.
That's what I was going to say. Mm-hmm. No girl just walks out of a relationship where it's like cut. Like Craig said, they weren't talking after. No girl is that strong. Mm-hmm. Every guy I broke up with, I knew it was wrong, but I was still like, hey, you busy later?
Totally. Yeah.
I miss you. Like, it's so hard.
100%.
So when they didn't talk, I'm like, something's weird. Why before the holidays? Mm-hmm. So supposedly, allegedly, she was with this guy on New Year's. We talked about last week, which might not air, but last week we talked about how she...
his ex-fiance is alleging that Paige was pursuing him and DMing him while they were together.
Yes.
Which she fully was.
Fiance. I'm just disappointed.
And she was with Craig. It's so rude.
It's so rude. I always say, if you want to get out, get out.
Right.
Don't cheat. Don't have an emotional
And I'm not
affair.
saying, yeah, it was emotional. I'm not saying she like did anything, but they were definitely talking.
With the kitty?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we know somebody. Oh, well, we kind of. Anyways, Ben and I know somebody, and the guy's wife is leaving him, and he was like all distraught, and she got a boob job, and she was going out, and Ben's telling me what he's telling him, and I'm like, oh, she totally has someone else. You're not leaving your marriage with your new boobs and all this if you're not. There's someone else.
There's always someone else.
There's someone else.
Girls don't leave that
I said
easily.
it right away. I'm like, there's someone else.
They really don't.
So
it's sad.
I know.
It's sad. But I'm Team Craig still. I love Paige DeSorbo, though. But
I think they're not
Craig.
right. He's going to meet someone, I think, more.
I know, and I'm fine with that, but the way
Right.
it's going down now, I'm
and it might be
disappointed.
me. No, I'm just kidding.
That's horrible.
I'm just kidding. I love Ben. I'm not going anywhere.
I know. It's just I feel for Craig. Like when Jessica Simpson did that years ago, when she got her, what was that movie? Your boots are made for walking.
Oh, the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah, she got her Duke's body. Then she was leaving Nick.
The Duke's body was like really good though.
Yeah, she was starving, I think, though.
Yeah,
Her book.
for
Jessica
sure.
Simpson book is amazing, by the way.
It is good.
But that's sad too. They're getting
I know,
divorced.
It is sad.
It's
My
so
foot's falling
sad.
asleep.
Well, I think sometimes when you chase fame, that's why we don't want to be famous, but kind of, but not really.
Yeah.
But we don't really want to be famous. We just,
No. Just rich. No, I'm just kidding.
she's
She always
serious.
gets mad at
She's
me
so
when I say
serious.
rich.
So embarrassing.
I mean, like, if I didn't have to worry about money, I think anyone would
I
agree.
don't feel like
It'd
you
be
worry
nice.
about money right now.
No, I mean a little. Like I worry about like the future.
You guys, you don't even know what she's like to fly with. It's so stupid. She's worried the whole time. She got on the plane yesterday and said, I have a bad feeling. I said, if you had a good feeling, I'd be worried.
I did have a
And
bad
then she
feeling.
looks at the plane the whole time. Like, if you did see the wing flaming, what are you going to do? You going to go out there and put it out?
I don't know. And I'm a glutton for punishment.
You are, weirdly.
No.
Yes.
No, we're not. No. Moving on. There's some things that stay in a friendship and they're not discussed publicly. Anyways, I am a glutton for punishment. Stop.
I know. It's a hard no.
I do when I look out the window. If I see the engine on fire, I mean, I half expect to see it when I'm looking out, and when I see it,
What are you going to do then, though?
I don't know, but I know it's coming, and so
You always like to know.
Oh, it's just horrible. I hate flying, and it's weird because I'm flying all the time for cheer. And I don't get used to it. I wish there was a way. I need to get hypnotized. Have you heard of people like getting hypnotized?
Yeah.
Is that godly? Maybe
I don't
not.
think so.
I don't think it is
I think
either.
we just pray about it.
Yeah,
I, think
I
you
do.
need
I
to-
pray the whole time. I say the Lord's
I know,
Prayer.
but worry is not of the Lord. Worry is of the devil.
I know.
And you're letting the devil in. And I almost
know.
think you like it because you are a glutton of punishment.
No.
I almost think you like thrive in this. Like, I'm on the plane, I'm scared. Let me look out the window.
No, I don't.
think you're
I hate every minute of it.
Then take a Dramamine with me.
I know. I say the Lord's Prayer over and over and over 50 times. And I'm just like, just keep me up there, you know?
And he has. And yet we're still scared.
I know.
But you drive like a maniac. You almost crashed us 50 times the other day. You're texting the whole time. You should be scared then.
I know. I'm not scared then.
I don't know. We're
I
late
think
for our
it's the
flight.
lack
We're
of
running to the
control.
airport.
I think
Yeah,
I'm
you're
in
very into
control when
control.
I'm driving, and which is crazy because God's control is way more like safe than my control. My control sucks, but God's control is way more. I should have more of a peace when God's in control, but for me, that's a really hard area.
I know we talk about this. And
With cheer too.
yeah,
say.
so I don't actually have a hard time most of the time letting God be in control. I always trust him. I always feel like I give it to him. Mm-hmm. But lately, in certain areas, it's harder for me. So I'm getting it.
Yeah.
I'm getting it, hard it is to release and trust him. But I think we talked about this weeks ago, and I've still been trying to live like that sometimes good things come out of the pivots. Mm-hmm. And I'll say that again. Good things come out of the pivots. So like when life takes you on a turn, instead of stressing about the turn, enjoy it because he might be taking you somewhere else.
Like it's God's plan.
Yeah, and like sometimes even in anything, like our friendship, we had 2 years of dark time. And as much as it was hard and I hate that pivot forever changed everything. Like you're a different person.
Like we'd never have jerking around.
No, but like you grew as a person, your marriage got better, you made other friends that like you're still so close with. I feel like the pivot was a good thing, even though it was something really hard. And I feel like every time like there's a pivot, sometimes we don't realize God's working it out for the good. But we always want to like maneuver it, and you've got to let go. But sometimes we want to make decisions right in the middle of a pivot. And the hardest thing is sometimes he wants us to just sit and wait. And I don't think you're good at that. I think sometimes like in life, there's some things you want to make decisions. Let's like just pray in it and sit in it.
Yeah.
Remember, I thought about this and I
always think God doesn't care about these things because he's like dealing with like the people getting murdered and all the world issues and the people that don't even know him and the dark corners of the world. And so I feel like my problems are stupid. So I'm just like, I'll solve this because it's like minor and God doesn't need to be bothered with this. So I'll do this one. And then the things that I can more like when my control runs out and I know I'm not in control, then I can go to him. But if it's something that I can control, which is like 90%, I feel like I'm not trusting him at all.
I know, but little pivots, you never know where he's guiding you.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes like you've made those pivots and like you've taken control and then later we're like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Why did I do that instead of just sitting in it for a minute and not making a rash decision?
Just time.
Yeah, because like we always talk about where my kid, Maddie, when we were deciding on high school and totally in the fashion of us, you know, we wanted to time that together and go to the same high school. And Tisha was asking me where are you going to go to high school? Where are the kids going? And I said, I don't know. God hasn't told me yet.
Yeah.
And you thought that was so stupid.
Totally.
And I literally prayed on it for like a year before
that. And then all of a sudden, randomly out of nowhere, I ran into,
and Cindy, who I coach with, we talk about that story all the time because it was so from God.
Yeah.
It was a basketball game I didn't really want to go to of a friend of mine's daughter. And like I run pretty busy. It's not like I'm just running to a basketball game on a weekday.
Right.
Like our kids are very busy. So my kids with Kyle, I'm making it look like they're our kids.
Yeah, well, it is our kids.
Yeah, it's weird. But I went to the basketball game and I hadn't seen Cindy, who I coach with, in 20 years.
Right.
Not seen her. We live in the same area. I've never run into her. And we ended up talking and like crying, had an hour talk. And in the middle of that, you and I had been talking about coaching. It's God laid it on my heart. And I was like, I feel like I'm going to coach again. And I've been praying about it. And we were going to go to another school. And then she told me that position was opening. But she said to me that first night, I'd like you to coach with me. And it was at the one school I didn't want to go to. I didn't want to go to Liberty. I thought I had my own pretense of what it was like there. I was like, I don't want to, it's Liberty. Like, I don't. But again, if that was my choice, that wouldn't have been where I would have picked at that time.
Right.
I would have picked the other school we were talking about.
Or if you wouldn't have waited and just picked something, whereas you were just like, hold on, I'll know there's a sign, and then a very clear sign.
Very clear sign. And I look at like the people God has put in our life from that school and from that decision. They're God. They're it's not just about where my kids go to school. It's like who furthers their faith, who's furthering my faith.
Right.
Like the people I coach with make me so much better of a person. They fill my cup. My kids' direction. Who you make friends with in high school is a big deal.
Totally.
They're all Christian. It's like crazy what he did in that decision.
Yeah.
So I think in those small pivots, even when I found Top Gun years ago, one of my favorite things this weekend, we were on a cheer trip this last weekend. Our girls do competitive cheerleading. We've probably talked about it, and they cheer at Top Gun All-Stars, Peoria.
And we're obsessed with it.
We're obsessed with it, and our gym owner is one of our very best friends.
Yeah,
and
he's the best.
I've talked about on here who I admire, and he's one of my favorite people I admire. And they always say, he's actually jerky now.
Yeah.
But they always say, you want to be in a circle with people that are better than you, and that's who he is to me.
Yeah.
He's like someone I aspire to be more
amazing.
like. Anyways, so our highest level team, who's the best team, level 6 team, competed. We went and watched, and as soon as they finished, it was a perfect routine. As soon as they finished, they walked through the parents, and before they celebrate with their parents, they pulled them over to a huddle. They got in a circle, and they thanked God. It was so cool to me. And the coach prayed, and he thanked God for all the things, thank God for the athletes. Then after they finished, they went and celebrated.
Right.
And I'm like, it's so not about sports. It's not about cheerleading. It's not about the bow. It's not about the full. It's about what this program is teaching my kids.
Right.
Again, though, God put our kids at this gym with these people to grow them closer to him. And they're small decisions, but they forever changed the trajectory of our life.
Yeah.
So trust. But speaking of, on the way here, we were talking about club sports. And I felt guilty many times about how busy we run. You know, like, I don't know about your week, but Monday we have this after school. Tuesdays are
it's every night.
Lighter night, but usually a practice gets put on there too. Wednesday night something, Thursday night something, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. And I think the motto out there is that too busy is too busy. You don't want your kids running around. You don't want to miss this time.
Yes.
And after a weekend, you know.
Or we fill the kids with so much sports and all these things that don't matter, that they're too busy. That's kind of like, there's like both sides of the spectrum.
Both sides. And I would say that probably I was on the other side. Kevin Lehman, someone I really respect as like a parental leader, always says they're not hamsters. Don't run them on a wheel. Mm-hmm. Don't keep them so busy that they can't breathe.
Right.
I don't think I'm doing great and not keeping them so busy they can't breathe. But lately with the phones and the video games and everything that goes on at home, I don't want them sitting at home on electronics. Right. And when we are home, sometimes the tensions are a little weird. And I feel like that's something people don't talk about. Like, what does a family night look like?
Right.
Because we talked about it once, that I thought your family nights were amazing. You thought my family nights were amazing.
I'm all, get out of here. I don't care if you hate the movie. You're watching it or you're grounded. And then it's like, ugh.
Yeah. So like, I have this like insecurity of, are we doing enough? Like we've done like game nights a few times. It's kind of awkward, but we do it.
Right.
But then we'll make them watch a show with us or a movie to get them out of their rooms. But my kids are in their rooms a lot when we're home. So I don't really want them in their rooms on social media or playing sports. So I don't mind keeping them busy because I noticed that for me, there's a healthy limit, right? There's busy enough where I'm productive, but too busy where I'm spinning. And that's what last year was.
Right.
It was too busy, I'm spinning. I'm missing moments. I'm missing life.
Right.
I am too distracted. So I feel like I learned how to be present.
Right.
But in still being present, I think some of my best memories or moments with my kids have been through club sports.
Right.
And some of my favorite people I've met has been through club sports.
Well, like you said, so nowadays when kids are at home, unless you're planning and you're implementing things, which if you do that, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I'm not that mom, but I love it.
If you're implementing like no phones, we're doing this, we're doing this.
That.
Then
Sherry Beltramo was great at that.
But a lot of times when kids are home, it's almost the opposite of like now when they're home, they're scrolling, they're playing video games, or they're on their phone, or they're on electronics, or they're being antisocial, where when they're in the club sports and they're interacting in more real life, because now so much of life is virtual. It's almost like isolation more when they're home. Because I feel like, you know, my oldest is he's between football and we're making him do track. He's real excited. But he's in between, so he had a couple months, and it's like he's coming home and playing video games, and I'm working, and the other kids are at sports, so there's not a lot for him and I to do. We'll watch shows or whatever, but there's not a whole lot planned at home, and I'm finding the idle time, he's grouchier than when he was busier in the beginning of the season, of the year, and he's a lot less social. He was talking to friends every day because they were in football, and now I feel like he's almost... It's the opposite. Yeah. And you wouldn't think it would be. You'd think, oh, he's at home and he's getting more missing assignments. He has more time in his hands.
Isn't that weird? Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I do think being so busy and learning to juggle and balance is like a really good skill to learn young, because as a mom or a dad, you have to learn to juggle work, parenting, all the things. So I think it's good for them to learn early on how to manage your time, how to manage, oh, if I have practice, I have to get this homework done. Or, you know, it's just good life skills. But I do see like the people that move to a homestead and they work family, they have the rules. I love that too. I wish I could be like that. I do too. And I contemplate it daily. Yeah. Because I'm like, this world's whacked. Let's get out of here, you know? Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah, I feel guilty about that. But I don't think it has
the bad name that you say.
I always worry if it's enough family time. And I think that's a normal thing. I think a lot of people worry. Right. Like, and then we're fighting when we're all together.
Right.
The kids are fighting, I'm fighting, and then you look at other people on social media and you're like, they don't look like they're fighting.
Right.
Why are we fighting? Why is family night
this
so
weekend
fun?
was family time because I was with my daughter all weekend, and not a lot am I with her for 3 or 4 days uninterrupted. We were together the whole time. It was a lot of family time. I wasn't off.
But it's only 2 of you.
Right.
So like,
True.
we don't
I see what
fight.
you're saying,
No
like,
one's
together,
fighting.
yes.
No one's yelling.
Right.
There's not like this
But I'm saying that
tension.
was through club sports that
Oh, I
there was
agree.
there was family time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I talk about it all the time. I ask the kids what's their favorite trip we've gone on. And everybody knows Tisha and I like to travel because we didn't go on a lot of trips as growing up, so we try to make up for it. We all have our reasons. And they always say like their cheer trips. And I'm like,
Right.
really?
I know.
All these places we go. But I think it's just the dynamic of all of it,
Right.
you know? It's such a cool memory. And now that you're fading out, because last year, my oldest, it was her last year with Top Gun, because then I encouraged her to do high school, to get involved
Right.
in the school. And I was like getting so sad all year. And Tisha's like, no, I'm ready.
like, you're dumb, you know?
Yeah, it's so busy. I'll be glad when it's done.
Right. I'm all the millions of dollars in travel.
It's
you
millions
know?
of dollars.
But then now I'm all, it's so sad.
It's so sad, isn't it? I'm
I
sad
know.
for you now,
I'm
because then
so
I'm losing
sad.
you.
I know.
And
I'm
I'll be
so
traveling
sad.
without you. It's like so many cool memories.
I know.
And even with Broxton, like with his baseball team, I love their families.
Yeah, I love
it's
the
like the
families
best
of the
families. We have
clubs.
the best time. So even when we play football, I love those families. Like we've been blessed to meet a lot of people. But I think the tensions come when you're running around so much that you're not spending time with your husband. I saw a clip, and I've shared
Yeah, that's almost the time that suffers. It's not the kid time because you're all about the
yes,
kids.
yes.
It's like the connecting with your spouse because if you have more than 1 or 2 kids, you're dividing.
And I think that's where the club scores goes
Right.
wrong with the family.
Yeah.
Because even last night, I was gone with Tisha. It's so sounding like we're together. But I was gone with Tisha for a couple days, and Hudson, my middle daughter. So when I got home, Maddie had friends over. They were working on a project. Broxton really wanted my attention. Kyle really wanted my attention. And then I was behind on work because we were on a plane. So I felt so pulled, but I've been trying to choose Kyle first because they always say it's God, husband,
Well, and the
then
kids will be happier seeing you guys
Yeah,
together.
someone posted that your kids, what they want for you most is to see you choose each other first.
And that makes them the most secure. So
Yeah.
you're like helping their self-esteem and their
Yeah.
psyche by seeing a strong family.
Yeah.
Marriage unit, yeah.
Yeah, but I always feel guilty sometimes because Broxton, I want to watch a show with him too. Speaking of a show, Night Agent, have you watched that?
Yeah.
Season 2's out.
Yeah, he put it on last night. I was kind of distracted, but yeah.
You can't
And the guy
be.
grew a beard. I'm like, no.
No, that's only the beginning. He shaves it in 5
Yeah,
minutes.
shave it and be done with it, you know?
It's in 5 minutes.
Okay,
it's
good.
to show that time.
Yeah, I'm like, why is his beard? It was throwing me off.
I know. I was like, is that him?
Yeah.
He shaves it and he's back.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
one episode. Not even by the end of the
Yeah,
episode, he's
because
back.
that was kind of like, you know, I was into it. And then I was like, ooh, the beard.
Do you guys play Night Agent?
No, but
Yeah.
maybe we
Yeah.
will. I'm all, shave your beard, you know?
And then he's like, shave your kitty.
It's shaved. Oh, only hairless cats around here. No.
Boy, oh boy.
Oh, boy.
Speaking of though, when we're on our trips, we were talking in the car. We try not to talk on the way here, but something that's new as your kids get older, especially our daughters, is the attitude you get of not being cool. There's this all of a sudden when you go from the kids wanting to spend time with you to you're not cool anymore.
Which
They want
I'm like,
nothing to
you
do with
kind of do think I'm cool because you're still stealing all my clothes, but you act like I'm a giant idiot. It's
Yeah.
so, and I don't feel like boys do that. Maybe they do. That's the jerkies. But like, I feel like my boys do not think I'm an idiot whatsoever.
I feel like they'll have their stage where they're not as clingy with their mom, but I don't think it's like a competition. I think with girls, there's this level of like, it's like the way they grow away from you.
Right. They want to establish their own identity.
Yes, and they don't want to be in your shadow. They don't want to be like you for a minute.
Right. Because my daughter and I feel like we've always had a really great relationship, so close. She's always been sassy, but like, I don't know. She now acts like I'm a giant idiot.
See, and I don't see that you're not close and all this stuff you're
Totally.
talking about.
Well, she's just mean.
Yeah,
And it's,
she says some things.
and I'm having a hard time with it. And Crystal's like, you're too sensitive. And I think I'm just not
I think
used
it's
to
good
it.
to lock it down. I don't think
Yeah.
they should disrespect.
Right.
But I think like sometimes like us not being cool, that's not
Which I
really.
don't feel like being cool, but she makes me feel stupid all the
Yeah,
time.
there they go
That's
together.
what it is.
That's what it
It's
is.
like, not like I'm trying to be, I'm the cool mom, but like, don't make me feel like an idiot when I'm just standing there paying for millions of dollars of things for you and taking you on your stupid cheer trips. They're not stupid, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm feeling like you're making me feel like an idiot when I'm just here for you. And I do not like that feeling. It enrages me, in fact.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've witnessed that.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes it's important to know it's not so personal as much as it's them growing.
Right.
And she's not trying to hurt you. She's not trying to do all that. She still can't disrespect for you outwardly.
Totally.
But I think sometimes kids are just growing in their own way. Mm-hmm. They can't disrespect, but I think there's a period, like I told Tisha last year, 8th grade with my oldest, sounds bad, but like I didn't enjoy time with her like I used to.
That's how I'm feeling now. And we're in 8th grade. Maybe it's an 8th grade
It's
thing.
an 8th grade, maybe transition, and I'm back to enjoying time with her again.
I'm looking forward to next year.
But last year I went, you're usually one of my favorite people to be with, and right now I like want to get you out of the car.
Yeah.
You're making me feel like an idiot.
That's how I feel 24/7.
Yes, like she used to make me feel good, and then I felt like an idiot. Like I
Right.
felt like insecure.
And we'd like laugh.
Yeah.
And we like got each other. It was so great. And now it's like, you know, like it's really weird. I'm like, where's my sweet daughter? Bring her back, you know?
I think it's just a phase. And I think the more you, I have, it's interesting, but I have someone in my life that's super close to me that I went to dinner with. And she told me once, your kids are going to go away. You're going to think you've lost them. You're going to think where'd they go? I don't even know these people. She's like, you need to just sustain it. They come back. She's like, but let them grow. Don't take it personal. Don't overanalyze it.
Right.
It's just them growing.
Right.
And they'll come back. And I think it's so important to not overly react. That's
Right.
one of Kevin Lehman's things is don't overly react.
Right.
Be in control. You know, like what you did. Take their phone if they disrespect. Take it. Do an immediate consequence, but don't make it so personal.
Right. Well, I do that. Sometimes they're not happy. And obviously as a mom, you want your kids to be happy. So when I notice my oldest and my daughter, if I notice them unhappy or like moody and just kind of seeming meh, I immediately want to fix their problem. Especially my oldest, I'm like, what's wrong? And he's like, nothing, I'm just tired. And I'm like, oh no, well, you seem grouchy. You seem like you're upset. And then I finally had to remind myself, and if he's not happy, it's fine.
Yeah.
I was not happy for a lot of childhood, and nobody cared.
Well,
but it was
true.
good.
You're not going to be happy all the time. I think that's
No.
an American culture thing.
Yeah.
Like you got to be happy and you got to change your attitude and you actually grow a lot through unhappy times.
Totally.
Like the last year was amazing for me.
Yeah,
With my dad, I wasn't happy a lot.
totally.
And it was so much growth.
Right.
And I appreciate things so much differently.
Yeah.
But no one was going to make me change my attitude about my loss.
No, so now when I'm like seeing him unhappy, or my daughter, I just kind of like ignore it and try to act like it's no big deal because they're fine 5 minutes later. It's just kind of it's the hormones too. I think it's just all of it. And as a teenager, remember when Darlene on Roseanne, I like watched Roseanne and I was like, oh, Darlene wore all black and was unhappy. And then she got whatever she wanted. So I was like, I'm going to be Darlene. So I started wearing all black and reading my book all the time. And my family was like, yeah, okay. So we're going on, and then no one cared. I was
So
like,
then you came back?
Yeah. So I was like, well, this sucks, But I tried it for like a month. I was like, I'm not talking to anyone. Darlene wouldn't talk in the show.
Yeah.
And she just wouldn't talk to anyone and engage. And it's actually really smart that they put that in a show because kids do weird things.
They do.
And so I was like, I'm going to be the new Darlene and I'm going to get whatever I want. So I'd be like, and I remember my mom got married once and I was like, I'm not going to the wedding. She's like, okay, honey, we'll see you later. And I was like, oh, because I was mad she was getting married,
Yeah.
It was like the 5th time or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm going to show her and then I'm going to be Darlene and she's not going to get married. And then she's like, okay, we'll see you later at the wedding. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm going to the wedding. And I'm there at the wedding, But it's just funny because no one cared if I was happy, and I think it was good for me to figure things out on my own,
Oh, God. I had a mullet and was the fat kid in the corner.
And no one cared.
No one cared.
Yeah.
I'm all, Mom, they all said that I'm like butter, the most fatteningest thing in the world. And they said, what are you going to do, sit on me? She's like, okay, so you're going to gymnastics?
Yeah.
And I'm like, Mom, she never fed into feeling sorry.
Yeah, that's how I am now. I'm trying to be with the kids.
Never fed in.
Yeah.
But something interesting that you're reminding me of, what we talked about this weekend and that we want to remind our kids about is like we are, and you've taught me this before, and I want to say it again. Your kids are what you say they are.
Right.
And so we have to be careful when we are disappointed or we are frustrated with them that we're not telling them they're someone else.
Right.
So you told me once.
Like, why are you depressed or something?
Or even like sometimes I was listening to our podcast this morning and you were telling a story about our wonderful clients and how they don't They don't talk bad to each other, but they call their kids dumbass. But where we didn't say is like they were joking.
Oh, he was kidding.
Not like, you dumbass.
He was using it as an example.
It's like, it was funny. But I do think sometimes we got to be careful not to call them names or say, you are this. Mm-hmm. You know, we do it naturally, but you always taught me kid's dad always said, you're going to be in jail one day if you don't get your stuff together and if you don't get good grades, and he went to jail. Mm-hmm. And this weekend I had an epiphany where someone in my life always makes fun of my coaching, to be honest, and my old coaching. And I ran into one of my cheerleaders who's also jerky. You know who you are. And we had the best talks. And she reminded me of so much of who I was that I literally forgot.
Right.
And it was like so crazy that I started to identify as this other thing. Yeah. Not identifying in a weird way, but you are who people tell you are. Right. So it's so important, even when our kids are bugging us, and even when that we're still empowering them, that they are good, even when they're being nasty. Right. You know, you are, like, maybe not you're a brat. Or I'm not like, ooh. Yeah. But, like, I know you're going through some things right now, but you're still great. Right. Like, and you'll figure it out and empower them instead of, like, take it personal. Right. Because that's how the devil works through things. Yeah. Is like divide you guys, make you guys separate. Right. Tell her she's these bad things. Mm-hmm. But you want to be a mom that's never, ever questioning who they are. Right. Like even I said, my parents, no matter how good or bad I was at anything, they always acted like I was the best at it. Right. I was literally dead last in cross country. And they're like, you did it. You know, and they looked at each other. In swim team, I was pulling on the lane lines and sinking. Literally. And they were like, you did it. They wouldn't critique me. They wouldn't say what I could have done better. They never did that to me. They always told me I was great. And like my brother and I have confidence of like a donkey. Yeah. Does donkey have confidence?
I'm all,
what is something?
Maybe they do.
An elephant? We have good confidence.
Yeah.
A jackass?
No. I do think, like, I've seen those things that say, like, I say like a lot, but I've seen those things that say what you tell your kids becomes their inner voice. And I think it's so important. And it's not even kids, because the person you were talking about wasn't even your parent. So it's just so important, whoever we're interacting with. Life. Yeah. Like the Girls Gone Bible. Exactly. Let's speak life into people. But I think even in frustration, be careful at how you say who you are. Like, even if they're disrespecting us, not you're so disrespectful, like those words really hurt me and I know you're better than that. Right. Remind them to go back. But even in anything, like even the girls I coach, even my husband, you know, he's the one that gets the most of everybody else. He always says, everybody in the world gets all the great crystal. And then you're so done with the great crystal that at home, I'm done with you, I'm done with you, I'm done with you. Right. And I sometimes say, you're always grouchy. That's not nice. Right. You know, you're always make everything a problem. Those aren't kind words. Like, I'm not breathing life into him. No. And they always say, like, you can tell a really successful, great man by who his wife was. Right. And, like, Don Wilson, his wife was always, like, you can tell he's so confident because of who his wife is. Right. And I even see with you and Ben, I think you've made Ben better in so many ways. Because you do build his confidence. Yeah, I try to build his confidence.
You know, and I think I've done that for Kyle, but I think some other areas I could do a better job. But even I see it between the boys, the dads and the sons. Like, he'll be like, you know, you can't be lazy and they're not meaning to say that, but if we're not careful, you're telling them who they are. Yeah. And you want to always make sure if you're going to tell them who they are, tell them something great. Right. Like Girls Gone Bible. So I think we could sum up there. Make sure you breathe life into people and don't pet anyone else's kitty but your own. Yep. Welcome to Jerking Around, a podcast that makes you feel better about yourself because we're a mess just like you.
And Crystal makes fun of me the whole time.
And it's great and it's real.